Okay, hello. Hey, hi everyone. Feedback that they wanted to try to learn from Foundry, of course, with a collaboration with Zubu DA for something that we want to cook up for the Vismin area. No? And I look forward to interacting with you guys. This is my third virtual class that I've attended. The first one was I was just sitting in. The second one was, of course, yesterday, and then the third one now. And what I realized is, aside from references and information that you get anywhere, the crucial thing about us as mentors is really to give you some tips and strategies. How to get over to be alert and steadfast, and how to get over this hump for the ALE. It's a very big factor for us as architects to get that license. And when you get that, it's a good feeling, especially early on your careers. Then you move forward. So I'll be sharing to you a few presentations of how I can relate to you guys and how I journeyed also towards my 15 years in the private practice. Uh, Yesterday there was not much in questions forwarded to me, so after everything else, if you wish to have some more questions for me or some clarifications or some interactions, I would love to have that. I'm very sure Foundry as well will be able to, I will be asking you some feedback. And for added incentive, for those that are participating, we'll be raffling off one Zubu DA t-shirt. I'll forward it anywhere in the Philippines, wherever you are. If you win, I'll give you this shirt. So this is the shirt, right? So those are the icons of our projects. So we'll get on with my presentation now. Okay, hang on. So hang on. Let me. Okay, everything's for sure clear enough. Just let us know if it's not clear. So
Yes,
during the course of
it's
the few
clear to me.
weeks, we wanted to collaborate and really find ways to improve um, the architect's environment and the state of what we have right now as well. Gerard gave me this title, The Architect's Mindset. It's like, wow, that's a good title to have. And for me, an architect's mindset is a mindset to excel. This is something that I value the most in everything I do. Success is relative. Success is something that you um, go forward, but in order for you to reach that success, there is an excellence mentality and a mindset that I believe everyone should have. This presentation that I do is not going to be about my projects or visuals about our projects. These are really things that I can help you, um, guide you through, and foresee yourself in the future moving forward after taking the board exam as well. So these are one of my slides that I always see, I always show in my presentations, and I always say good architecture is based on strong convictions, on a search belief. These are things that I have put faith in what I want to do. I was very strong in my beliefs early on in my career to put a specific philosophy and a brand, probably, that I can truly say that I am very happy to work. And it feels that it becomes a real big passion for me when I do my own architecture and design. It's been 15 years for me as a private practice. Roughly around 17 years as an architect, as a licensed architect. Um, these are milestones that you have to look into as well. And when you evaluate yourself, where you are 5 years from now, what will you be 10 years from now? And of course, moving backwards as well, what were your learnings the prior years? So the presentation is actually a reverse chronology. You will see the timeline of my career going backwards and how I learned along the way from each lessons and experiences that I've done. What I've always been searching on and what I've always been self-assured right now because of who I am are key values and key factors that for me to move forward. Anything that I do with some numerous business ventures, a family business that we're managing, some real estate development, my firm, the Zubu Design Associates, and of course, a collaboration of Zubu Design Associates and Foundree, always capture these characters of myself, and that's how I want to act to excel. So there are the four eyes for me. I know that I'm an innovator in terms of, it doesn't have to be in terms of just the style and aesthetic value of my projects. It's something that I really want to push forward and really challenge as well. What is the normal? That's why you see I'm an instigator. I love really rebelling and renegading to see what can and cannot be done. Another thing that I'm very passionate about is an integrator, a connection of things. In architecture or in everything in what we do, we have a responsibility to connect. One thing that we do is actually a connection and effect to society. And that is something that I am actually also quite passionate about. I love being an intellectual, something that is knowledge based that I always absorb in. And of course, I always want to share. And that is actually why I love, I also have a teaching background before, teaching in University of San Carlos. I really love sharing what I know. So these four things are actually what drives me to move forward and in everything that we work for. 4 years ago, I actually proclaimed that 2020 will be my best year. And right start of this year, probably you'd see all these memes that there's this feng shui master who's saying 2020 will be the best year. And then COVID came. And it actually some kind of disrupted a lot of what we are doing right now. However, I still say that 2020 will be my best year. Adversity for me, just like COVID-19, is opportunity. Opportunity like these that we can come and bring 75 to 80 people right now conversing and interacting from Abra all the way till Davao. These are opportunities for us to come together. Opportunities like challenges of what we have right now with the quarantine and slowed economic activities. These are things that will say, if I've got through this, then I've increased my level of resilience and I know how to manage myself in this time of crises. These are things I also advise my associates and my officers inside the office. And I said, you know what? Early on in your career, you have experienced this. We'll get through this together. This adversity will actually really create you to become a more mature person, and you can actually still hit your goals. Just like a lot of us here who wants to take the board and excel in not only just passing, but excelling and hitting that goal. As I mentioned 4 years ago, we kind of transformed. I transformed all my companies, even my office, in terms of something like, what is something that transcends more than just me? So it is from me to we. A lot of our associates, so we have a few more associates in our office, architects as well, that we have mentored and developed. And we coined this word, institutionalized innovation. How do we create a culture for people to flourish, to innovate? It's not just about me as the author, as the prime author or prime professional. It's already about what can a culture, what can a group of individuals become a collective and as a team to inflict change. This is something that I've truly treasure. One thing I know that I am very motivated, especially in the office, is correct and true mentorship. Mentorship in terms of really guiding you through your careers. And this is something that really drives me all as well every day. So these are things that, again, aligns to what we have with Foundree. What we want to do in Zubu DA is that each individual has to develop your own agenda, adhere to organizational values. So we want to meld that you know that you come to Zubu DA to learn about how we do things, what we are about, what we stand for. But along the way, each individual has to be authentic, and we have to develop each one to, look for who you are and your values. This came about with Foundree. and Zubu DA. A little over 3 weeks ago, and of course, this was a lot of news and anxiety for a lot of you supposedly taking the June exam. It was postponed till October. And one of the things that I had to do was help one of my associates, one of the people that wanted to take the board. I said, "What do you want to do? I'll support you in what you want to, so that you can be able to succeed and go over that hump of taking the board." We were scoping objectively in the various review centers, and I said, "I think right now Foundry is the readiest," and she agreed that would be readiest for any virtual class and experience and interaction on what is adversity that we have right now. So this came about, and then we basically talked to one another, and we wanted to share this as well for everyone, especially in Visayas and Mindanao. This slide, I'm very sure every one of you have seen this in Facebook. There are those that we kind of complain that it's not fair. We need to get what is fair for us. There's no free design. We invest a lot in what we do in our studies. There's another one, that with a purple background, asking, why can't we be paid? Why do we get these all? Why do we complain about this? And of course, on the lower left, I've heard someone say to one of our students that, let your contractors do the work for you. The architect's job is to approve. Let them do detailing and drawings. And then it disagree with everything that is on this slide. Everything that we are not placed on a pedestal just for us to relax and approve. We have to get our hands dirty. And if you want something done, you have to be together to work for everything. These things are basically, we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable to earn respect. And that is very crucial for us, for you to be paid sooner or later when you become an architect, for you to get validated on what you do, and most importantly, to gain that respect among every professional. It is not time for us to complain. We don't have good faculty. No one's really mentoring us. We don't have all these, we cannot get these projects. We need to do the work, and we need to strategize. And first and foremost, of course, we need to know that it is our job and it is our responsibility to grow. No one will save us except you. You have to grow. One thing we can do as mentors is support that environment and really call you out, of course, if there's something that you are in a state as well. No, so we want you. It has to be us. It has to be you. It has to be me that will act on this predicament. 2019 was a blur for me. No, I did receive a number of awards. I was awarded with one of the first awardees for Good Design Awards of the Philippines for one of our projects, the Line Graph House. Then we were a finalist for the World Architecture Festival with for the Koryasu Oratory here in Cebu as well. And one thing that you have to look into, as much as we are more experienced, and of course, right beside me in this picture is Kenneth Cobampue, collaboration for our chapel. This is a day before we worked. We presented in front of the international body. We still, as much as we have this success per se as defined, deals with a lot of preparation. We did our homework. We did our ways to really be prepared to present. And we also I had 3 to 4 months of preparation where I even speak in front of the interns to the associates. And I was very welcome for them to criticize me if I didn't put the message correct. So these are things, again, that are very crucial for you, especially with taking the board exam. What's significant about the WAF finalist and this inauguration was Foundree's inauguration of July 4, 2019 was exactly the same date that the WAF announced that we were finalists. And it was just really pure coincidence that Gerard, Jason, Nikki, and the rest of the Foundree team, and of course their guests, which are our friends, were there to celebrate one of my what are my wins for that year. So that's why, at least in a way, we have that great connection and a very good coincidence in terms of us with Zubu DA and Foundree. However, awards are not pinnacle of your career. We do not look for awards. These are just validations of what we worked and what we believed in. It is in a way other people who we highly respect, who knows that their game, would tell us, hey, you're doing a good job. Yet, for every award that we receive, it is another challenge for me to even better myself. I cannot disappoint myself, my clients, and I always have a responsibility to you to ensure that we always produce good work. And if we do that here in the Philippines, why can't you? We can do this. We can have an opportunity to do excellent work given whatever situation what we have. That night, of course, is a collection of our friends, highly respected professionals that have the same ideals with us. No? A big personal connection, of course, is our friendship that goes all the way back with Jason and Nikki. And that's how I got connected on a personal standpoint for Foundree and wanted to really embrace as well their values, which are very aligned to my values. We go all the way back, Jason and I. So this is 2013. This is when I invited him to Cebu for the Creative Cebu Summit. It's a collection of sharings again, of in terms of design and strategy. We all were in a way grouped together when we were awarded again by Blueprint Magazine as one of the 20 best designers under 40. And that was another validation on my long, arduous toiling of what I wanted to believe in. This is something that we truly value. Once we do all these Foundree talks, we all these do virtual classes, we do virtual talks, creative summits, and etc. We know that knowledge is meant to be shared. It is not meant to be kept. It is our responsibility to steward you, to ensure that you will have what it takes to, again, have the responsibility to show your knowledge and share your knowledge, not only to your peers, but on to your future team when you will have your own offices as well. You will see around from 2012 to 2020, you will see a lot of the awards that we do. However, it doesn't mean that those were just validations, as I mentioned. And what you see is during the course of the year when we were working hard and acting and making sure that there is really something in what we're doing, no, you have to act on what you believed in. We wanted very specific design-centric projects. We wanted it to be philosophical. We wanted it to be intellectual. We wanted to inflict some change and progress in terms of the built environment. And we really had to act on it and really show it, you know. So working hard is not enough. Everyone here, when you're working in an architecture or construction industry, we work 10, 12 hours a day. There's a specific strategy that you need to do where you have to acknowledge what you're weak at and you have to overcompensate and ensure that you improve from that. You have to build your skill set. Aside from that, of course, you have to master your craft to build your strengths. And moving forward, you have to imagine a timeline and visualize how you want to go about it. There has to be ways for you to be honest where you are right now, where you want to go, and how you, in between those is where what you have to work hard on. Okay? I remember when I set up my office, maybe I set up my office April 2005. So it was roughly, 15 years back. We had a conversation with a colleague who runs a very successful design firm as well right now. We were talking about our philosophies, and he said, what do you want to do? And I had that specific thing about progressive architecture that I wanted to do. So she said to me, if you were given 1 million pesos to design a classical house, you wouldn't do it? And I said, no, I won't. And my friend said, I don't believe you. So I said, watch me. So these were things that I had to be very extra motivated about, ensuring that I can achieve my goals. And what you've seen me do a lot of times during the course of the fewer slides is I do a lot of proclamations to myself. You don't necessarily have to proclaim everything right away to public, but I do now a lot of times. Um, it's nice to proclaim inside you to start to practice. You have to proclaim what is set ahead of you. Just like my first few slides when I said 2020 is my best year, and I still feel the same. And that was my old self back in 2016. So these are things that were very crucial for me to put a little bit of pressure, to a little bit of push for myself to ensure that I get things done. 2003 as well, I was ninth place in the ALE, something that was, you get head over the moon. It's something that is a great accomplishment, especially when you see your name, aside from, from putting in the list of hundreds or 1,000 people there in front of you, you're part of that name. It's something special when you have when you are part of the top 10. So I'd like to share to you what I basically did along that time. No, man, I did a lot of praying, and I told the Lord, this might be the most time that I'll be praying and doing a novena. So I had a lot of those after, although I had to do my own actions after take the board exam. I had to pray a lot, and it's a very different thing what we have right now, because I think right now it's 2 or 3 days after the board exam you will get the results. On our time with Gerard, it was 3 to 4 weeks. So the wait was really arduous, and it was really long, and really the suspense is really gonna get you. No. I also want to share with you another tip that I basically said, that you should never give up. When the cards are down, you have to finish what you started. I will relate this to our day 3. So as Gerard has shared to you, there were 3 days in our board exam. Day 3 is a drafting, like your departmentals or a plate, that you finish a plate project, you finish a design problem, and you work on it. No, from plan, section, elevations, all the drawings, the design development drawings, schematic drawings that you need to do. We were tasked to design high-rise office building, and we had to compute all the GFA and etc. So there was no exact number of how many floors. When we got the exam, I had a number of, we were 20, 25 in our classroom, and I see a lot more colleagues of ours like, yes, I got this. They were so confident. They were drawing a lot, very, very fast. They had this all figured out. In a way, I was intimidated. I wanted to place. I wanted to excel. But in a way, I was looking at it. My seatmate was a pretty lady who I was looking, and she was way ahead of me. I was still working on my plans, and she was already doing her elevations. So around 10, 11 to 12 noon, I was lost. I felt so discouraged. I say, I'm not gonna pass this exam. I'm so disappointed with myself. So I had a block. I was looking behind the window. I was behind the classroom, looking behind the window. People were fixing their roofs, and I was just thinking to myself, these 6 guys, we had around 30% success rate before. These 6 to 8 guys here, I think, these confident guys, may be the ones who will pass within their classroom. Then you have to develop again that mental and emotional strength and say, you're on the 3rd day, Bach. You have to finish this. Regardless if you're gonna pass or not, you have to show it, and you cannot give up. So those are the things that will develop resilience. And it shows to you every time when you were a student, when you take the board exam, and during later in life, and I assure you there's a lot more harder things to do, harder things than the ALE, you will develop that resilience, never to give up. And that's something I really want to advise you with. Another thing that I noticed, and I know Foundree and our group of mentors and myself can teach you on these techniques. You need to be alert and steadfast. You have to have common sense and common knowledge to ensure that you get things correctly. The board exam, and I'm sure you have read, some of you have been to review centers, have one question, a scenario with a scenario with multiple questions. So if you understand the question properly, you basically will be able to answer, or more or less answer, 5 or 6 sets of questions and answers. This is the story of the Le Modular. Okay, so the Le Modular, you see it in Foundree's background, and you will see it in, of course, Le Corbusier's writings and drawings. The question was something like this: the French average guy is 1.8 meters, while the average Filipino is 1.6 meters. Given those dimensions that you see, the questions were the following: if the Filipino will be sitting down, what is the dimension of from the foot of from the his foot all the way towards the sitting? And you have the number of choices again, multiple choice. I was looking at my seatmate when, observing. What he did was using a scale, trying to trying to figure out the answer using the scale, but the drawing was not scaled. So that's where you have to think properly on your feet. You have to be alert, and you have to use common sense. These are not necessarily taught to you in school right away, and it was not implied, but it was just basically ratio and proportion. You use the dimensions of the 1.8 and the 1.6, the height of the dimension of the French person sitting down, then you get your number and your answer. Imagine if you were wrong 5 or 6 of these. And that was devastating, probably with my seatmate. And I knew already that he was already wrong. And those are the things I'd like to advise you again. So you have to gain knowledge instead of acquiring the answer. And this is very crucial even until now for me, when I work with so many multiple harder decisions in business and in life. The process of elimination is very crucial. When you have to gain knowledge and you know each multiple choice answer, you have an inkling of what you know about these answers. From there, you basically say, okay, 2 of these I know is not the correct answer. You are actually creating a 50% chance for you to acquire the correct answer rather than a 25% chance when you just encircle right away. So these are things that I want you to be very careful. And of course, time, there is a lot of time in the board exam. You have to know how to review and really acquire this, and put that into play. So gain knowledge. It's something that you have to know right now. You have to get the breadth of a lot of information properly, and later will be giving you a lot of tips as well on this one. I am very passionate in modern architecture. I can lecture you 3 hours straight without any notes about modern architecture. I developed that passion a long time ago when I started. And this was very crucial for me when I was taking the board exam as well. Sorry. I was taking the board exam as well. Right before the board exam, a group of our friends, when we were taking, practice exams with one another, someone had a list of 30 modern buildings and who are the architects. And among all my friends, they only scored probably less than half of the score, while I scored 27 over 30. And I remember that. And they were all quite pressured, like, Buck, why would you know all these things? I say, okay, don't worry. I'll teach you. I'll coach you, just like how I love coaching and mentoring as well to fellow students. So how did I get to that point that was so easy for me to answer these? I gained interest, and I had to develop interest. I was so fortunate to be mentored by a very modern architect here in Cebu, Alex Medalla, who had 300, 400 books, just like what I have right now in the office as well. And every day, to gain the interest and the knowledge and the passion, every day I will take 15 minutes break, 15-minute during lunch break, 15 minutes lunch, 15 minutes nap. Then the rest of the 30 minutes is always a book, one book per day. Run through it, browse it, read a little, then get back to work. Those are the practices I did to develop that interest. But before you develop interest and gain it, you have to decide to start. I wouldn't have gotten into that if I didn't decide to start reading or getting more knowledge, or just, flickering through pictures and see what's nice, So these are things that I will always ask you later on in life as well. These are struggles with architects, like I don't know accounting and finance. Then you need to start to develop the interest and develop the passion in numbers. You're rattled, you have to be focused, you have to be calm, just like technical difficulties like that. So
Yeah.
yes, so yeah, so these are adversities again, opportunity. So you need to spin it right away. You cannot be, So I'll we're at the tail end. We are going to the next phase, which is the virtual class. But I just want to really complete the presentation. I know this will be very helpful for you. And Lay will definitely discuss this to you later. And of course, our fellow mentors about you have to be very disciplined. You have to create a regimen in terms of what you want to do, especially in the board exam. And it's nice to have a rhythm. And these are things I'm sure Lay will definitely speak about very in thorough, which I was very impressed with the presentation as well. And as you noticed, ever since when I was your age, 22, 23, I really wanted to be, I really wanted to excel. This is a conversation I had with my dad. It's like, Dad, I want to be first place. I was telling everyone, a lot of my friends even, that I want to be first place. Something that I really want to be proud about. It's a nice merit in terms of our careers. But one thing, just like here, I love sharing to everyone. One thing I really love why I wanted to be first place is because I wanted to speak in front of everyone during the oath taking to thousands of our colleagues and inspiring people again. So that was something I really truly love to do. And I wasn't able to get that confidence if I didn't seek a mentor. When we graduate, everyone has a level playing field. We do not actually we have a very limited knowledge yet and what is ahead of you in our careers. When I graduated, this house was there in Blueprint magazine. And fortunately, my mentor just came back from Hong Kong. And I really sought him and I really wanted to work for him. And I had to develop and gain his respect up to a point that our works already for Zubu DA is of good and excellent standards. But it didn't start to be a great designer. My talent was not innate or inborn. It was all developed. I started though as a leader. Every time I am in a position, I lead. Leading is not being the boss. Leading is about accountability, taking responsibility, helping each other to collaborate and always have each other's back, and you have to help each other. These are qualities of leaders. It doesn't have to be to say, I'm just an intern, I'm just an apprentice, I can't do much for the office. You can if you have a leadership mentality. And it's thus something that really got me by and producing what I'm doing now while developing that. 1988, I know. I can still remember in the office space of our, the study area of our house when I said, "Mom, I want to be an architect," and that is 1988. So I was 8 years old. So you do the math how old I am. So that was something that I've always felt. I don't know. I just decided I love to be an architect, probably because of drawings, doing some drawings, and from there on, it's really stuck to me and developed myself that we are going to be labeled architects because of what we are and what we know and how we can contribute, not based on the prefix, the name before the title before our names. So those are two different things. We have to show people that what architects can really do. So at the end of the day, I started just like you, and it all started with a dream. That's the end of my presentation. Sorry for the blip in the middle, but that's how I want to move forward and give the floor to Gerard. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Architect Buck. Very inspiring talk. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, do you have any
Welcome.
questions to Architect Buck? You can ask by turning on your microphone.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
inspired you
Ira's
to be an
here.
architect?
Aguas. Yeah, Architect Buck,
Oh,
Ira Serene Aguas is asking question.
yeah. So I just mentioned to you, no, it's beautiful. It was nice to have supportive or leading parents, you know. So what, in a way, when everyone, when we were children, were born creative. We didn't know if our drawings were very bad or not. We just draw, you know. So we draw in front of our parents, and then my parents would say, you know what, you could be an architect. It stuck to me when I was 8 years old. So that's basically how it came about to say, okay, I'm going to be an architect. Um, of course, we have a family business that's into trading of construction supplies and etc. Um, so in a way, they were kind of influenced me in towards the business. And what transpired um, in school was there is much more for architecture than just construction. There's so much more than that. Design, you know, there's so much more. I can remember first year of college for departmentals when you want to design a house. Believe it or not, the house that I did was a hip roof house with French windows and French doors, and it's like, wow, it's beautiful. When you were in architectural history one and you were studying the Roman temples, and I can imagine my house to be a Greek temple, you know. So these were there that, you know, you have aspirations for those. Then it stuck to me. I want to matter. I wanted to be good. For me to be like that, I want to ensure I want to be really good at design, really make something matter. Because in a way, when we were students as well, there was absence for me to say that something that really inspires me in the Philippines or in Cebu, in for that matter, that really is emanates architecture. So that's where I felt that for me to make a difference, I started with design, and I really started to be very strong and convicted in design. So that's basically um, how did you find develop? I can read through, no?
Yes.
You tell me lang ha if you want to if you want to cut off a few
Yeah,
and we can
it's
answer
okay.
a
It's
few of
okay.
these. Yeah. How did you
Okay.
find develop your core and philosophies? This is basically when I sought a mentor. There's always something inside us innately that we fall in love with. We don't know yet what it is. There's something that you always fall in love with. When I saw the work of Alex Medalli, that house that I showed you, it just floored me. It is modern, and I've seen modern works that are quite, you know, it's just boxes, restraint, yes, but there was something about that that moved me inside, emotionally touched me, and I said, "No, that is someone I really want to work for," and I needed to. So that's where I kind of were able to, you know, at least get a job there, and the rest was there. When you develop your core and philosophies, you that is another aspect in terms of the interest that I mentioned. I started it when I started. I would just take in information. My mentor would tell me, you know, this is nice, and I condition myself. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. He said this is nice. Okay, this is nice. Why is this nice? So I kind of analyzed everything again. Why that was nice. So he mentioned about the distance of the floor and the proportions are great. So he put it inside me and to say and created that depth of knowledge. And that's basically how you develop your initial principles and philosophies that you borrow from other people. Then you kind of have to challenge yourself to say, where am I to contribute in this philosophy? What am I going to do? And a big portion of that is really practicing it when you really put it in the project and really showing it and justifying to clients. How did you
Okay.
find a mentor? That's it. That's it. How do you handle criticisms or like people who have doubts on you? Good question, Jonathan Cruz. I think I know this guy. Um, how do you handle criticism? Um, you have to know that criticisms are there. That's where a lot of the things are communication and justification. When you have that knowledge that you are studying and you can be able to talk and not talk back, but converse back why it has to be and why you want to do this, it is actually already a conversation that in a way probably we need to learn as a race and as a culture that it's okay to speak up and justify respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
something everyone has to do. 90 I am very boastful of our approval rating. 99% of our projects first scheme. We don't do other, you know, we create 20, 25 schemes in the office. We only present one. That one will always get approved because we have a
Mm-hmm.
story, everything's justified, and That's it. You want me to keep going, Gerard? Tell me lang, ha?
Yeah. One more question, Architect Buck.
Yeah, sige. I can answer these later. We can compile and I can answer this through our Facebook page.
Yes.
How do you keep the fire burning, especially at difficult times? Ooh, I love this question. Uh, it had everyone here. We live, even Gerard and I, come from a video game generation. When we were
Mm-hmm.
kids, we used to play Family Computer, right? What did
Yes.
we do when we
Nintendo.
were in Super Mario Brothers level 1, level 2, level 9? What did we do? We practiced. We developed our resilience. We kind of know, oh, we get killed. We know how to jump already. We know how to hit that wherever. There's a strategy to go for about it. In a way, it's just really basically like that. How do you improve your level? When you cannot face your fears now, example, I'm not good as an apprentice. I don't know how to design. I will not design na lang. If you have that mentality, it's very hard for you to go move forward. I was not the best designer when I was working for Alex. I just pretended to be. I just really wanted to move forward. It's like they keep on every time I do a scheme, they say, "No, that's not good enough, Buck. Sorry." So wow, okay. Why then I see their schemes. Wow, it's really nice. So it's to have that learning mentality that every time you get disapproved, every time you're down, it is actually something that you have to put it as a positive and then to say, I learned from the guy. Wow. Then you have to build that up. Every time you don't face your fears and you don't go over that hump. Believe me, guys, when you're at our age with Gerard, probably, and I'm sure Gerard, when we go older, we have more problems, no? It's gonna be
Yes.
harder. The level of problems are gonna get more difficult and more difficult. And if you cannot resolve these small problems like Super Mario level 1, when we're already probably with Gerard, probably level 6 na tayo, not yet level 9, no? So we haven't beaten Bowser. Sorry, it's an old school
Mhm.
game. Huh? I'm not very good at Counter Strike or etc. So these are things that you have to really develop it. These are singular individual things that you have to develop, and no mentor can do this if you cannot decide to resolve it by yourselves. That's it.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, I'll answer you
Yeah,
guys.
can
I
through the
promise.
chat. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you, Architect Buck. We learned so much.
yes.